Cable Bahamas has been and continues to be a positive shot in the arm for our summer camps. We look forward to it. Without Cable Bahamas, I don't know if we will succeed, because we look forward to the funding and we are very appreciative, particularly the Cable Cares program. We are very appreciative to what they do.
We thank the Cable Cares Foundation, which would have given into this program, and it's going to pay dividends in the long run because each one of these children are affected.
Well, Cable Bahamas Foundation has helped us in a huge way. We are out there looking for all kind of help, and I am so happy that the Cable Foundation didn't decline us based on the economy and what is going on today.
So they've been with us for a long time, and we look for them to be with us for many years to come.
The Supreme Court oversees provisional liquidators to oversee operations at Baha Mar. The F&M slams the move as placing a loaded gun to the developer's head. The BEC chairman on yesterday's island-wide blackout, plus doubts expressed about Marco City MP Greg Moss's political future. We've got those stories and more coming up tonight. I'm Dana Smith, and NB12 starts right now. Topping news tonight, Supreme Court Justice Ian Winder has granted the order appointing provisional liquidators to oversee the affairs of Baha Mar. However, he insisted approved liquidators Chris Global and Alex Partners Services UK would have limited powers. Winder, who set the hearing for the winding up petition of Baha Mar for early November, said it is extremely regrettable that the parties have failed to reach a solution, considering the thousands of jobs at stake. Vanik Toot reports.
Though Supreme Court Justice Ian Winder approved government's request for the appointment of provisional liquidators to manage Baha Mar's affairs, he made it very clear they would have considerably limited powers, and provisional liquidation would run a very short course. He also announced the court would appoint liquidators from two companies proposed by government, KRYS Global and Alex Partners Services UK. Before handing down his ruling this afternoon, Winder said it is extremely regrettable that the parties have not found a way to resolve this matter given what is at stake and considering they had ample time to work it out. He pointed out that the appointment of a provisional liquidator is an interim measure to prevent the dissipation of Baha Mar's assets during the ongoing dispute with its Chinese partners. He added it is just short term and provisional liquidators are not expected to do any heavy lifting. Baha Mar's attorney James Corbet QC told Winder respectfully that he thinks he has reached the wrong conclusion. Baha Mar President Tom Dunlap was inside the court for the ruling but refused to comment. He referred us to Baha Mar spokesperson Robert Siegfried.
We have no comment at this point on the court's decision, other than to point out that Baha Mar has the only plan, which is plan of reorganization before the Chapter 11 court, to open up Baha Mar as soon as possible.
Are you disappointed?
We're not commenting on the decision. We are the only party that has a plan to open Baha Mar up open as soon as possible that is on the table.
And with this order, you don't think that will happen?
We're not commenting on the decision. We're focused on our plan of reorganization.
Attorneys for Baha Mar had challenged government for appointing a provisional liquidator, arguing last month that government has failed to present a plan on how the appointment of a provisional liquidator would complete the stalled multi-billion-dollar project. After identifying Chris Global and Alex Partner Services UK as the provisional liquidators, attorneys also discussed costs and the extent of the power of those liquidators. The Attorney General filed the original winding up petition in July and a second petition in August. The hearing for that petition will take place in 2 months. Attorney Wayne Monroe, who represents the Gaming Board, says that should give the parties time to get past personalities and work it out.
You know, in the Bahamas we say talk is cheap, money buy land. Well, we've been hearing for a long time about the ability to work this out. The mandate, if you would have heard the directions, is to work it out before the 4th of November. because that's the hearing date of the petition. And so it is unfortunate, as the judge says, that it has come to this and has not been resolved. But
Baha Mar filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in the U.S. District of Delaware on June 29th as a means to finish the project. The hearing of the winding up petition of Baha Mar will be held on November 4th. Reporting for NB12, I'm Voining Toot.
Justice Winder's order figuratively places a loaded gun to the head of the developer, according to F&M Senator and former Attorney General Carl Bethel, who today expressed the opposition's disappointment that government secured court approval for provisional liquidators. Bethel said the order will effectively tie the hands and cripple the developer in any negotiations going forward and could lead to years of protracted legal battles. Bethel said the developer has been backed into a corner, and he doubts the resort will simply roll over and play dead.
We are disappointed that the government has persisted with what, in our view, is a foolhardy intervention into a private sector dispute. The order today, in our view, figuratively places a loaded gun to the head of the developer.
And Bethel said that protracted litigation could last for years.
The developer has been placed in an invidious position by the intervention of the government in this matter. We regret that matters have come to this pass. We do not anticipate that a developer, thus backed into a corner, will simply roll over and play dead. We anticipate that as a result of this order there will be protracted litigation, and that litigation will not be to the benefit of the Bahamian people.
The former Attorney General said what would be in the Bahamian people's best interests is for the resort to resolve its differences with its creditors and open as fast as possible.
This matter ought to have been resolved by consensual negotiations between all parties on an equal footing.
Bahamas Electricity Corporation customers on New Providence once again experienced an island-wide blackout yesterday. According to Bahamas Electricity Corporation Executive Chairman Leslie Miller, the blackout happened around 2:45, and a lightning strike is believed to be the cause.
We had an island-wide blackout that occurred about 2:45 yesterday afternoon that shut down the island. Apparently, there was some lightning that took place out at Clifton, and that disturbed 3 of our overhead lines that brought the power from Clifton to Blue Hills and uptown. And when that occurrence took place, the engines at Clifton shut down. When then it became an overload to go to Blue Hills. Blue Hills engine shut down to protect themselves from any further damage. Therefore, you had an island-wide blackout, including Paradise Island.
He said power was completely restored to all areas by 9:30 last night, and all of BEC's engines are online.
Power was out in certain areas until about 9:30 last night. That's when total power was restored. But we started restoring power around about 6:30 is when we started, and by 9:30 the island was back on track. We're in good shape right now. All the engines are back on.
Miller said engineers are now investigating the matter to determine what exactly went wrong.
They're now trying to determine exactly why that happened. Because even if that happened with a lightning strike, it should have been insulated to that immediate area and not an island-wide blackout. Again, if we have the proper arresters on our poles, the lightning arresters, that should not have taken place. So what they're doing now is evaluating each of the engines to see why it happened, the time that it happened. And that's not going to be out. That information is not going to be forthcoming before Monday.
But despite yesterday's widespread loss of power, Miller said overall he believes this summer has been much better than last in terms of outages.
This summer, we have done tremendously better this summer than last summer because we got a Greco 40 megawatts unit. We put them in place at Blue Hills. They're running properly. I think this summer, Bahamians can honestly say that they're much better off now than they were last summer, in all honesty. I mean, I hit the guys often, but I can't hit them this time because I thought they've done a fairly good job in having things under control this summer. And I want to congratulate them for doing so.
Free National Movement Chairman Michael Pintard said today that he is confident that Marcos City MP Greg Moss's new political party will not win the next general election, adding that it is unlikely that Moss will even win his seat. Simone Davis has that story.
The F&M chairman said it came as no surprise that the Marcos City MP opted out of the Progressive Liberal Party with plans to form a new party that he would lead. However, Pintard said he hoped that Moss would have collaborated with the Free National Movement instead.
Pintard noted that while he supports Moss's decision to leave the Progressive Liberal Party, it is difficult to determine whether or not he's going to have any traction in terms of whether he will attract a high caliber of men and women who are prepared to join him.
So I had a sense that he was going to form a political organization, and notwithstanding the tremendous talent that he is, unfortunately I don't think it's going to translate in that new organization, if it fully emerges, becoming the government or Mr. Moss retaining his seat. But certainly I commend him for stepping forward and speaking truth to power in the Progressive Liberal Party.
He said all opposition forces should try to remove the PLP from the government as soon as possible.
It is my hope that politicians who are considering forming new organizations would take into consideration that we have an absolutely terrible government in place that needs to be replaced urgently. And it is my hope that opposition forces would find a way to have mature conversations about how do we operate in a manner that we don't find ourselves in another 5 years still grappling with a Progressive Liberal Party government that's out of touch with the population and seem not to be touched by the infirmities of Bahamians who are hurting in multiple areas.
On Thursday, PLP Chairman Bradley Roberts said he's not concerned about the new party and doubted if Moss would find any members to support him. Roberts said Moss's new party would be stillborn. Well, Pintard said that comment just shows that the PLP is only prepared to savage anyone who opposes the views of the party, criticizes the leadership, or practices freedom of expression.
The Progressive Liberal Party has demonstrated, whether it is Greg Moss or Andre Rollins or numerous ministers of the gospel, that they, or Dionisio de Aguilar, they are prepared to savage anyone who is in opposition, not to them and their positions alone, but even to their ideas. And it is unfortunate, and that is a good sign that they need to go. But it is also nonsensical to contend that if Greg Moss put forth good ideas, those good ideas could never be stillborn, because good ideas will always find fertile ground, because they are more right-thinking Bahamians who are attached to ideas when they are not attached to any of us as individuals.
Moss said the new party will be made up of a diverse group of Bahamians and said he has received interest from pastors, union leaders, and lawyers. The Marcos City MP resigned from the PLP in June, stating that he could not continue with the party on its current trajectory. Reporting for NB12, I'm Simone Davis.
You're watching the best in Bahamian news. There's more when NB12 returns.